So
Okay.
today we're going to give our class hello to all the Facebook, to all the YouTube users. Today we're going to give our writing class part 2, okay, of the exam for certificate of English. Hello, Jose Juan, and yes, today we're going to give you on tips, and I'm going to explain to you how to do the part 2 of the writing exam for the first certificate of English. So the writing part 2 of the exam for certificate of English, it's 2 to 4 questions, writing questions. One of the following is an article, an informal email or letter, a formal email or letter, a review, and a report. Those are the 5 options you have to do in your writing part 2. You will find 3 of them. The format is situationally based writing tasks specified in no more than 70 words. You will understand this when I show to you how these exercises. You will have 3 different questions asking you to do an article, email, report, review, or with what they want you to, what you need to be writing in that report, review, or article. Okay. The task to be selected from a choice of 3, like I already said, and it will be from 140 to 190 words. The total time you have to do this exam is 1 hour and 20 minutes, including the writing part 1. The writing part 1 will take you more than half the time, because it's a longer question. It's also more specified by the exam. So that's a longer question. Let's say that you will have tops 40 minutes to do each. It will be better if you spend 30 minutes doing each and at least 10 minutes reading everything you've written down to see your mistakes and see if you can change them. That is very, very important. Okay, and can you scroll down, please? So, the questions you will find in the writing part 2 are general questions based on a range of different topics, such as, for example, health, fitness, sports, music, and so on, like education, technology, or visiting different places. This task may include any of the following types of writings, like I said before, like an article, an informal or formal letter, email, report, review. Okay, you, as candidates of the exam for Certificate of English, are expected to show that you're aware of the different kinds of writing and you know what is required to accomplish the task. You must be able to demonstrate appropriate use of one or more of the following functions, like describing, explaining, reporting, giving information, suggesting, recommending, and persuading the reader. You will have to make your writing attractive to the reader. Okay, that is very, very important. So people want to read it more and more. The different task types are intended to provide guidance for you, so you know what to do in the writing. So you can put together and develop ideas on the topic that you are choosing. Okay. Now, we're going to give you some tips of how to do these exams. Part 2 will always have 3 different tasks where to choose from. Okay? Always. They will always have 3 different tasks. Each task will be a different type of writing. It won't have 2 articles or 2 reviews, but 1 each. Okay? You should avoid a particular task type if it's unsuited, if it's not suited to your interest or your experience. So this writing will ask you to write of things you know, your opinions or your knowledge of a matter. Don't choose something that you're not, that you don't know about. Choose something that you're more secure about talking. You should avoid questions if you're unsure of what they say because you won't know what is required from you to do. How? If when you read the 3 different choices you have for the writing part 2, there are words you don't understand, don't choose that, because you won't be 100% sure of what they're asking you to do on the writing part, okay? Because it's very important. Also, your answer has to be wholly relevant. Your whole answer has to be relevant to what you have been asked to do. That is very important. Okay? Don't take a subject and then change it into something you feel more comfortable talking about, because that is not what they're asking. They're asking you to do a specific type of writing. Okay, now I'm going to show you an example of 3 different types of of 3 different choices, which you will find in part 2 of the writing. Okay. When we read the initiate, it says, write an answer to one of the questions 2 to 4 in this part. Write your answer in 140 to 190 words in an appropriate style on the separate answer sheet. Put a question number in the box at the top of the exam, of the paper. Wow. 2. The first one. You see this announcement in your college English language magazine. What is that? That is an introduction to the story, because they're making a whole story about this writing. Okay? The first one is book reviews wanted. They want a review. What is a review? Jose Juan, do you know what a review is?
Yeah, when you use a product or read something.
How would you call review in Spanish?
Una. Limit. I miss the word in
We
Spanish.
could call it, for example, una reseña.
Reseña. Yeah.
We could call it that. Yes. So,
I forget the word in Spanish.
They're asking for a review of a book, okay? A book you have read, a book in which the main character, el protagonista, behaved in a surprising way. Write us a review of the book, explaining what the main character did and why it was surprising. Okay? Tell us whether or not you would recommend this book to other people. The rest reviews will be published in the magazine. They're not asking you to write a review of a book you liked, but of a book in which the main character did a surprising thing that you didn't expect. They're asking you to write what he did, why you didn't expect it, why it was a surprise, okay? And then if you would recommend this book or not. And that is everything you have to write. If you write more than they're asking, it could be a problem. If you write less, you are not fulfilling the needs of the review. Okay? It's very, very important to always have in mind what they're asking you to do. Okay, if we scroll down now, we can see the second option. Option 3, you see this announcement on an English language website. Very similar than the one before. Articles wanted. Okay, now they want an article. The most useful thing I have ever learned. What is the most useful thing you have learned? Who did you learn it from? Why is it useful? Write us an article answering these questions. We will publish the best articles on our website. Okay. The most useful thing you have ever learned. Don't try to make up something, but actually take what is the most useful thing you have ever learned. Your experience is key in this article, because it needs to be believable and people need to rely on it. So take something you know from your experience, because it will be more attractive to the reader. You will have a better answer. Okay, what do you need to do here? Exactly what they're asking for. Say, what is the most useful thing you've ever learned? Why is it the most useful thing you have ever learned? And who did you learn it from, or where did you learn it, or what? how did you get to learn that, okay? And the article has to be answering these 3 questions. That is the most important thing to do. And the 4th, scroll down please, and last choice is to write an email. Okay, for me, okay, well, let's read it first. You have received this email from your English-speaking friend, David. Okay, from David, subject touring holiday. Some college friends of mine are visiting your area soon for a week's touring holiday. They would like to travel around and learn about your local area and its history. Can you tell me about some of the places they could visit? What's the best way to travel around? Car, bike, or coach? Thanks, David. Okay. For me, emails and letters, I think, are the easiest thing to do. Why? They always have the same structure. You can write about things of your city, which you probably know. I mean, it's not a complicated vocabulary. It's quite an easy vocabulary to write about your city. Also, the introduction, it's not complicated. Dear David, hello, my friend David, whatever. No, good morning, David, or how are you doing, David? And then the goodbye is the same. So you always have the same structure. If I had to choose something, I would totally go for the email or letter to answer, because I think it's the easiest one to approach to. Okay. Here it's asking you to write. So in a letter, knowing that it's a friend, it's always good to have like a personal detail. Hello, David. I'm doing well. Whatever, you know. And then saying, you know, if you agree of taking them to the city, taking them to places, to a city, whatever, and they would like to travel around and learn about your local history and area. Okay, here it's good that you already say some parts of the city or the area that you live in, which are historically important or that are common known. Okay? Think about those places. Can you tell me about these places they could visit? You tell them about them. What is the best way to travel? Then you can at least like say a couple of things. For example, in Seville, if you're in Seville, like Jose Juan, you have a huge bikeway, which goes all over the city, you know, and you can talk to him also about the weather, for example, if you want the weather of the city. What clothes should they take? Okay, and then that's basically it. So this is an example of the exam. You will always find 3 different options. Review, in this case it was a review, an article, or an email. You will choose for one of them and you will have to finish it in less than 40 minutes tops, because it's 40 minutes each. And always read it at least once after you wrote it down, because you will always have mistakes. Okay, now I'm going to explain to you how they correct these exams. How do they correct the exam? Okay, it's divided in 4 different parts. Okay, first one, content. The content of your writing focuses on how well the candidate has fulfilled the task you were supposed to. Did you answer the questions they were asking you to answer, to write down? In other words, if you have done what they've asked you to do, which is exactly that. Second, communicative achievement, which focuses on how appropriate the writing is for the task and whether the candidate has used the appropriate register. Did you use the right register? Did you communicate what you were trying to say? Because writing about, like, answering the questions and actually making someone understand what you said are different things. Okay? So you have to think about that too. Organization focuses, that is the third thing they will evaluate, which is the organization of your article, review, letter, email, whatever it is. What is the organization? If what you have written down makes sense one after the other after the other. What is good for this? What is good for this is to have, first of all, a resume where you put the main ideas that you're going to talk about and think if that is the correct position where you should talk about them or not. That is a good way to improve your organization. And the fourth, the language. Your vocabulary and your grammar, okay? The range of vocabulary that you know. So if it's more specific, if it's more general, if you have a clear idea of where you have to go with this, okay? Also using, for example, English and American spelling, or English and American words, English as British. If you use in the same sentence a British word and an American word, it's worse than if you stick with American or British. Okay? You can think about that too. Another thing, important thing, don't write too long phrases. The longer it is, the easier to put irrelevant content in them. Also, no, don't write them too short. If they are too short, they will probably need more information. So not too long, not too short. Both of them are mistakes. Always try to make it a medium, large phrase.
Okay.
Okay? Can you scroll down a bit, please? Okay. And that's basically it. Also think again about the attractiveness of what you're writing. If the reader is going to think this is interesting or not. The most interesting it is, the better mark you will get. Okay. And that was basically it. So this is the explanation of the writing part 2 for the exam for Certificate of English. Hope you understood everything. To all the YouTube users who are watching us. And if you have any questions, Jose Juan, you know, always my email. And we'll see you tomorrow. The next class will be a speaking class. Goodbye.
Goodbye.